and HenricK, the wreck bring the chaos. Gaming news and industry talk, they got it all. Rage quitting, head banging, it's a metal brawl. Mental meltdown, gaming in flames. Chris and HenricK bringing the non-notice rage. Video games and viral content. Barricades, ripping through pixels, the ultimate game to get away. The ultimate. Rave over, I'm feeling the rage. Chris Collins and HenricK on the stage, talking gaming news, industry that can't escape. We're reviewing video games, no need to debate. They bring the heat, spitting truth non-stop with fiery words. They're ready to drop, making waves in the world of video games. Collins and HenricK, they don't play no games. From console wars to DLC scams, they expose it all, making sure no one jams. The audience fired up, ready to explode. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. You know it's a code. When rage quits on, you know it's a code. Rage quit. Rage quit. I'm losing my mind. Chris and HenricK, they're fucking gaming all the time. Rage quit. Rage quit. It's a love-hate affair, but I keep coming back. Ain't nothing else to compare. Rage quit. It's a love-hate affair.
Hey, what's raging gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
You know what, Chris? I made it. I'm here. It's time to rage.
Hey, well, nobody actually knows what happens behind the scenes, but sometimes, just like with video games, there's lag and there's a little bit of technical delays, so to speak, but we're just glad to be live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show would not be possible. So we can't thank you guys and girls for tuning in, whether it's Twitch, whether it's Meta, whether it's YouTube, you name it. And we might as well just go ahead and share our QR codes for all those who haven't hit the notification bell. So what are you waiting for? That's the best way to be notified on a weekly basis when we jump on for a lively programming.
Yes, and you see that QR code right there as well. That goes to my YouTube channel. So there's tons of content there. Go watch some, leave some comments. I'll be waiting.
That's right. And we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. You miss every shot you do not take, especially when that shot is mailing a wedding invite to $1 billion company and then seeing what happens. I mean, would you ever think about doing something like that, HenricK?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, and then something might happen.
No,
You
not
can't
at all.
expect it, though,
Who thinks
so.
like that? Really, you would do something like that? Well, when the time comes, HenricK, maybe you might want to pick up on this idea because one couple did exactly that, and PlayStation slid into their mailbox like a cool uncle with a mysterious package and a very polite gesture. And so, gamers, if you ever were to invite a gaming giant to your big day, would you expect silence, a nice note, or something that definitely can be plugged into a TV? And so if you haven't seen the viral clip that's circulating all across the World Wide Web, let's go ahead and take a look.
Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, whether or not you like PlayStation, this is pretty cool.
That is
You can't
really, really
deny
badass.
that.
I think that is really, really cool. And then you know what? Come to find out, HenricK, I started looking on TikTok. There are numerous gamers who have thought outside the box and have done exactly what this gal has done. And I think that is really, really something cool and special. And so for everybody that has not, seen the comments, let's go ahead and dive right on in. Because the first one says, I mean, this is cool, but Fortnite is a free game already. I mean, come on. There were a lot of games they were giving away, like Spider-Man 2. I think I saw 2K. I mean, Fortnite, obviously. Those youngsters, they do like their cosmetics, just like us millennials. Wouldn't you say, HenricK?
Yeah, it's true. And, you'll get some hours out of the games they gave you, I'm sure.
Yeah, like, why would they hand them a piece of paper of Fortnite if the game's for free? There's some V-Bucks on it. I mean,
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
some serious trolling. And then Nintendo would try to file a cease and desist order because they have a patent for something that vaguely resembles a wedding. Well, I don't know if I want to risk...
What if you and your, partner are dressed up as Mario and Peach, though?
But is it really worth it, though, HenricK, if the lawsuit is worth more than the diamond ring? You know what I mean? Like, it's something to consider, gamers. And then the last comment is, would this work for you? Or, sorry, tongue twister there. Would this work for after you're already married? I mean, wait, what? Sorry, that's why it threw me off. I'm like, dude, no. I mean, you would come across as like a divorced uncle or something. They'd be like, sorry, bud, this is a little weird.
You had your moment.
Love
you
is in the
lost
air,
it.
but I think you have enough money now because you're single. I don't know. You wouldn't believe what had gamers feeling romantic this Valentine's Day weekend, which was pretty remarkable. Gamers were apparently lining up to wishlist Become, the only game where you can start life at level -9 months. If you don't know what I mean, look at this glorious gem that's going to be on screen. Yes, Become is a 3-hour journey through the human reproductive system, HenricK. I mean, I think this is a game that I believe, is that supposed to be us? I mean, I don't know. I'm a little confused.
With the glasses.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think I need my royalty, okay? But anyways, I mean, apparently someone looked at biology class and said, what an amazing idea for an indie game. I mean, who thinks of this kind of shit, right? But it's a 3-hour journey, and gamers, this is where I got to ask you, are you brave enough to play it, or is this just one of those titles you buy and pray nobody checks you're recently played? So let's go ahead and check out the gameplay trailer.
Hey, maybe they should assign this as homework in biology class. Maybe that'd be actually a way to get people to
Oh,
do
you
it.
think that would be a little bit more friendly other than Become? Yeah.
Yeah.
I I question that gaming title in a sense. I mean, why? I mean, maybe my answers will be solved once we play the game. You can only wish list it right now, but that didn't stop gamers from commenting all over this game while we receive some kind of gameplay from it. And yeah, that's a meme, and just don't ruin it for the rest of us, okay? If there is a plot twist that I wasn't anticipating, I do not want this meme to ruin it for all of us gamers. Wouldn't you say, HenricK?
Yeah, I think I'll pass.
He's like, no comment. I don't even want to say nothing. You set me up, Chris. And I wasn't me. These are the comments, HenricK, okay? And then ironically, it's the closest a lot of players will get to being inside of a woman. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a thing. I'm sure
They want us
true.
to touch grass, and now they want us to cut the roses, and then, yeah. And then the last one is, yes, I'd like to relive my earliest childhood. Yeah.
From before you even know you had a childhood.
Before you become a man. Oh, boy. But, yeah, this was starting to pick up some traction. The original architect behind the God of War, who helped forge Kratos, is now trending for unloading on Sons of Sparta after it shadow dropped to close out the state of play from Sony. And if you guys haven't really seen the tweet that was going viral, as you could see, thinks it's total crap. And HenricK, did you get the chance to check that out? Were you surprised to see that, along with obviously the remake of his trilogy being reworked with the original voiceover actor?
Yeah, I knew there was going to be some heavily debated topics in regards to even touching any of the old God of War games, let alone trying to rewrite stuff for them, because people love those games, including this guy.
Well, yeah, clearly. I mean, now, HenricK, the internet is watching a franchise ancestor critique the family tree in real time, which is pretty wild. And some gamers, before we even scroll into this gladiator pit of comments, is this an honest veteran feedback or just a franchise family trauma going public? And let's go ahead and it's very explicit. Let's go ahead and check it out.
This is the kind of game I've always wanted in terms of 2.5D God of War, super into it. But this, to me, is not what I was talking about. I bought this game. It's a $30 game. I don't like it. I don't recommend it. Here's a news flash. We gave you a great character in 2005, and then with 2, and then with 3, and some of the other games. You changed them for 2018. Okay, fine, whatever. I love 2018. Didn't like Ragnarok, love 2018. But you know what? Fuck off. Okay? The character's a great fucking character. Every time you make a new game, you don't have to go, you know what? Let's not go back to the great character that people love that built this franchise. Now let's see him as a little kid. Some generic, boring little fucking kid. It's just insulting to the fans. It's insulting to people who worked on the games. They would think this character right here is what people want. It's crap. It's dumb. It's stupid. I would say avoid this fucking thing.
He is definitely very mad that people have gone back and done this to his beloved character.
I think I would also be very surprised, too. If I was the original creator of God of War, and then all of a sudden you're probably getting your whole social media blown up, like, oh my gosh, hey, David, like, what do you think about God of War and this whole prequel, in a sense, that's definitely leaving the traditional format for this 2.5 HD look, which is like being, exploded into existence because of, I would say, the likes of Octopath Traveler and etc. And then, and then to see this, I mean, that's your baby, right? But, let's let the comments kind of feed some of this, flame to the fire, so to speak, because the first one reads, this dude is just jealous because he left the game behind 20 years ago, and now it's blown up to be this giant international success with new amazing games and an upcoming TV show. What's offensive is thinking his opinion matters any longer. Ouch. Damn. Like, I mean, that's like saying George R.R. Martin, man, like, hey, HBO's got it taken cover. Like, we do not need you saying anything more.
And you know what happened last time that happened.
You're right. And then now that George R.R. Martin is back, being a little bit more heavily involved, especially with the Knights of the Seven Kingdom. Oh my gosh, if you guys haven't checked that out, that thing is fantastic, especially that last episode. But that's, not video games. We're going to go back to gaming. But with this, it's it's unfortunate. You know, you start to see stuff like this, and then clearly, you know, the gamers have felt like it's enough. But wouldn't that be kind of tough to see something that you created, and now all of a sudden everybody's now turning it for the cinematic screen, and they're not really adapting really your story. They're going to be adapting.
Yeah, they're not doing it the way that you would have done it.
Yeah.
They're taking it in a different direction that you feel is not genuinely the character.
Well, it doesn't even
I
feel
get
like they're
that.
following the Greek, you know, mythology. They're going to go with the Norse mythology, and so I bet he's a little salty about that as well. But then you also get, you know, someone that says, "Ah, not gonna lie, at this point he's just this," which is just an old man that yells in the clouds. I mean, this is like a normal thing that constantly keeps being circulated over time. You know, I'll be the old man that yells in the clouds. I was kind of surprised when, you know, the Sons of Sparta, you know, they were pushing for this whole like co-op multiplayer kind of experience, and then to find out you can't even unlock that feature until you beat the game. Even for a $30 game.
That is just downright ridiculous. How are you going to say that the game has co-op and then say, "Oh yeah, but you got to play it again to even experience the co-op with somebody else"? Like,
the way to
come on, guys.
And what if the game is just completely ass?
That would be like saying, okay, here's a Halo game, you know, game franchise that's known for having good co-op. And yeah, in order to play the co-op mode, you have to beat the game one time by yourself.
Yeah, this almost feels as
majority of people are
criminal
not going to do that.
This almost feels as criminal as when we used to play Call of Duty and we go, wait, I thought we always get all the maps. Like, why is it that they're putting these things into DLC map packs? Like, what the hell? I want the whole game, not just little slices of the pizza. And then you also get, you know, the last comment that reads, Kratos has survived the Greek Pantheon and the 9 realms. I think he could survive a bad review from his dad. So, yeah, you know, you guys are all very, very clever on the World Wide Web. But we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. And we can't thank you all for tuning in weekly on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And so, anybody that hasn't hit the notification bell, what are you waiting for? Scan the QR code. It will send you directly to my YouTube channel.
And you see this QR code right here? Well, that goes to my YouTube channel. So go ahead and scan that. Go watch some videos. Leave me some comments. I'll be looking out for them, all right?
That's right. And we are only just getting started, and we're starting to see people start to pile on into the live stream. So join the comments. You know, if we see something that we feel like is like, holy cow, we need to add that to the mix, we will definitely showcase you guys with this beautiful lower third that we always have during the live programming. So, you know what time it is, HenricK. It is time to rock and roll, my friend. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and grab your skateboard, Chris. I know you got one.
I know, right?
Because we're about to talk about High on Life 2, baby.
But don't ask me to do a kickflip. You know, it's a long fall being this tall.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is High on Life 2. It's once again time to save humanity from the threats of the universe. Except this time, you're already the famous bounty hunter from the first game. This sequel brings back the iconic talking guns, quippy dialogue, and irreverent tone, but they've also given you a skateboard to keep the action quick all throughout the game. It's time to rail grind your way to victory. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
All right, we got another game in this series, which honestly, I'm surprised that they came out with a sequel, but
Very fast, too.
very fast. Yes, that's the exciting part about it, is like, this feels like it only came out a couple years ago, the first one, right?
Yeah, they didn't want it to be like Mary Jane and let it be a slow burn, you know what I mean? They wanted to kind of hit it really aggressively, a little bit of like a Jaeger bomb kind of a punch.
They said, you guys need to enjoy this comedy that we're throwing out here. You know, we know you guys love Rick and Morty. Well, we're gonna give you another episode of Rick and Morty in this series.
Well, yeah, you know, especially with that kind of absurd comedy, right, HenricK? Because I feel like, you know, with High on Life, it returns with you and your beloved rag team of alien misfits. You know, you're going to be blasting, stabbing, and grinding rails across a very gorgeous and bizarre alien landscapes to blow up this evil pharmaceutical conglomerate that literally put price tags on human life and somehow shoved the skateboard into your battle loadout while with it, you know. And did you feel like that was a cool feature in this game? Because they really heavily it's almost like they started their own genre, skateboard shooter.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love the not Doomer. That's a different genre, I guess. The boomer shooters of the modern era. Where it's just really fast paced. Think like Doom Eternal,
Yeah.
like that pace of gameplay. This is entirely just that, where it's just boom, boom, boom. You're shooting one place, you're grinding a rail to another, you're shooting another dude, and then you're going and grinding elsewhere. It's all really just fast and quick, and you have to think on your feet because, especially when you're grinding on these rails, you might need to turn around and not look where you're going for a moment. But it's all really fun, and I really enjoyed that part of it. I
Yeah,
think the skateboard was a good addition to the gameplay.
Yeah, I think it, especially you don't want to fall being too stale, right? And I think,
Yeah.
with High on Life 2, they definitely took a gamble to try to think outside of the box. Maybe Mary Jane helped a little bit because, I mean, obviously there's a dripping colors, different landscapes, and,
Yeah.
and it's just the whole idea about having to save humanity from this impending doom once, thanks to, your talking guns and your questionable decisions. You're now like this famous intergalactic bounty hunter in a sense. You're almost like the Mandalorian. And yeah, peace was nice until the alien pharmaceutical megacorp kidnaps your sister Lizzie. And so naturally, HenricK, I mean, did you like this approach, stepping away from the space cartel and then, bringing Big Pharma in to be the villain of it all?
Well, it seems very dystopian future, almost like it could happen in real life if we let it.
Yeah, that's true. But unlike its predecessor, which was like largely, revolved around, dismantling the cartel, right? I mean, High
Cartel,
on Life
yeah.
2 like tightens the narrative in a sense by making the threat feel personal. And did that work for you?
Yeah, it works at least better than the first game. The first game, you feel like you're just thrust into a whole world of I don't know what I am doing here, because you have really no tie to the cartel's actions, like except for the fact that they invaded Earth, maybe.
Right.
But that's kind of a really broad uh, sense of stake, for a main character to have. Whereas in this, like you were mentioning, your sister Lizzie is kidnapped, and you have to go chase after her, and that's like the first bit of the game.
Well, how did you think about
And
the
that does
opening as
add to
well?
more relatability. So
Right. But like, how did you think about the opening? Because I felt like they did something a little bit different than I haven't seen with a lot of modern video games when it comes to, the next adaptation to, an OG IP, right? And so, like, I don't know. I felt like they were leaving that traditional sequel for like this interdimensional variety show, having a breakdown. I mean, I thought it was kind of wild when you're like going from, body slamming this like skyscraper sized beast, and then abruptly you're like sitting down at a talk show couch, and then all of a sudden, like, wasn't that pretty hilarious when they made a little bit of a gag towards the the character creation? Because I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh, yeah.
where are we gonna go with this?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was kind of a fun approach to really try to teach you the tutorials of maybe stuff that you might have forgot how to play with the original High on Life. But it was just a fun, different approach to really shoot that commercial shoot, cut straight to the obstacle course, smash cut right back to a talk show all over again. I feel like the absurdity is very self-aware, and I just love how they doubled down on all of it.
Yeah, I like that intro also. It, like you said, is something very unique that isn't done. And not, at least if it is done, it's not done very often nor very well. I was a little hesitant at the fact that it started just because I know this is an Unreal Engine game, and I was like, oh man, something's gonna break. But fortunately, something did not. I was expecting something to break, but it didn't. So I give them props for that, because there's a lot of bouncing around between different scenes,
Yeah, there's definitely a few reportings out there, especially for the PC gamers out there, that there is some, performance issues, and that's unfortunate. We're going to try to stick it to speaking about the overall game itself. And like we said, this is very much like a Tony Hawk meets a shooter game. It's the skateboarding is one of the main core components. And yeah, you're going to be grinding rails, you're going to be wall riding, you're going to drop kick enemies with it. And I think that's what's really cool, especially when you get to weave through hubs in dynamic ways, in a sense, Henrik. And so would you rather, glide into combat like a pro skater, or are you just terrified at having to aim while grinding, Henrik? Because I know some people might complain about this approach. Maybe they feel like, it's a bit too much, the high pace movement about this game, because it's really the whole game. And did you feel like they should have had a little bit of a balance of the old, or was this a nice addition?
I think it was a nice addition. I had no problem with it personally, though I could see people having maybe an issue with it if they're coming from the first game and really liking the pace of that, because it does change it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
What actually bugged me a little more is that while, yes, there are new additions to the gun arsenal you have in this game, like you can actually dual wield a gun for once in this game.
Yeah.
It's still, yeah, exactly. But it still felt like the gun sandbox was missing something, and maybe it's just a little bit more variety. Because when you look at a lot of games that have, especially that fast-paced gameplay, like Doom Eternal, you have a ton of guns to choose from to just constantly switch between. If you're feeling like you're not going to do too well with one gun against an enemy, go try another one, and maybe that gun will work better for you. And so I felt like they missed out on an opportunity to add more guns in this one compared to what I also felt was a lack of guns in the first game.
And it seemed like it's very heavily dialogued in this game, in a sense too. I know the first one was like that as well, but you're doing like a mission where you got to do like a board game of Clue to figure out why the billionaire even killed himself, weird stuff like that. I don't really feel like the bosses are as memorable as they were in the first game. They're a little bit not my favorite. Let's just put it that way. But I do feel like, Travis and Jan, when you mention them, I feel like they do stick out as like memorable to me, if you want to say, because that was the introduction to dual guns, right? In this game that we never got from the first one. And it is always funny when you have this, fun word on play with these talking guns, especially when they're a married couple and their chemistry leaks into the combat like they're dual wielded lovebirds. And so that alone, I feel like, is what is the draw towards this game, especially when you got this all-star comedy lineup, to voice these alien talking guns. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like, High on Life 2 is fearless in its absurdity. It skateboards directly into chaos, and quite frankly, it refuses to apologize. The humor does hit. Yes, there is a Jeffrey Epstein joke pretty much right within the first 10 minutes of the game. And yeah, the ambition's undeniable, but is that enough to keep it from being a repeatable game for the future, HenricK? What do you say? What's your verdict?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is I do really want to like this game, but when I was playing it, it honestly started to hurt my eyes more than anything else. And then later on, a little bit my ears with all the dialogue going on. Because, I mean, there's a lot that's being spoken in every scene. And it can be a little overwhelming, I'm not going to lie. And between that and then the lack of variety in the gunplay, I unfortunately have to give this one a pause just because of that. But I think it's a good game. It's just it feels it could be so much more of a leap between the first and this, where they added in some nice things, but it's not enough to make me want to come back.
Yeah, I'm with you on that in a sense, too. I feel like they should have leaned a little bit more towards the combat, and I feel like that's what's missing with this kind of style of game. And, yeah, I mean, there's some really cool environments that you're going to go to, from the zoo to, like, a convention. Then all of a sudden you're going to go to, the pharmaceutical companies, evil, corporation spot, you name it. There's even this really funny cult that you come across in the game. So there are some, like, funny moments like that, but then you just kind of go like, wait, I feel like I'm playing an 8-hour movie and less an actual video game. And maybe if they do a trilogy to this, which I have a feeling they probably will, maybe they could focus on bringing back what we all loved with the original one. And I'm with you, HenricK. I feel like this game is kind of like Bob Burnquist is like juggling fireworks while trying to do like a 900 spin during an earthquake. It's not quite there. He didn't quite stick the landing. It's not a terrible game. But for me, it's a pause. But we want to hear from you, the gamers. Are you vibing with High on Life 2? Do you feel like this is a game that like every gamer needs to jump on ASAP, especially if you were such a fan favorite of the first one? Let us know what's good. But man, we got so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So, HenricK, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it, Chris, because I know we got a lot to talk about still.
Let's get it. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. So the memory and storage chip shortage that has been causing RAM, SSD, and GPU prices to skyrocket is now muscling into other gadgets, and it's turning the tech aisle into a game of musical chairs with fewer and fewer seats. What do I mean by all this? Well, let's go ahead and throw up the image on screen. Yes, Valve is waving the low supply flag on the Steam Deck. Reports from Bloomberg suggest that even Nintendo might fatten the price tag on the Switch 2, while Sony could allegedly stall the next PlayStation like it's waiting for the gas prices to drop. When does that ever work for anybody? Never, right? And so, gamers, here's the real head scratcher. Is this what the console makers want us to believe, so we impulse buy now as AI creates hysteria? Or is this just the warm-up lap before hardware prices start jogging uphill? And yes, that's got a lot of gamers talking online. So let's dive right on in. First one is AI is taking our jobs and our hobbies. Do you vibe with that? Do you think that's what's happening? I mean, clearly for the artists, the 2D artists that we've expressed numerous times on this show. I mean, shoot, they're taking over streamers. We got a lot of VTubers out there. I wonder how much of them have actually designed their own art or just went to a website and had some AI prompt build them a peanut or something. I'm not saying the burnt peanut did that, but I'm just saying there's a lot of VTubers out there. What do you say,
it is definitely something that is affecting people in terms of just their well-being and then also their mental well-being, because well-being is tied to having a job, and then mental health well-being is tied to your hobbies. And it sucks to see that it is continuing to affect things to the point where the Steam Deck is a great option for people to get into gaming, especially PC gaming, because you can start to build your library on Steam. And it being out of stock just makes it that much more difficult.
Uh-oh. There's a little bit of the technical difficulties we're talking about. Hey, but that's all good. That's a live programming. But we'll keep it rolling with that bottom comment. It reads, "It always amused me when these tech bros seem aghast at people who are skeptical or resentful of AI. Like, yeah, man, it's making everything more expensive, providing little value for most people. And you keep telling everyone that it's going to destroy their lives. Why wouldn't they resent it?" Yeah, it always seems like they put a lot of this kind of pressure on all of us, so we do impulse buy. I almost feel like it's like that AI where everything is like going up in prices, HenricK. It feels like they have to justify a number so then investors can throw more dollars at it. It almost seems like that in a sense, but let's keep it rolling because I know there's a lot more comments here. This is not good news for us holding out for the Steam machine, with the follow-up comment that reads, like this one. "Literally the worst time to try to release a system. Be lucky if we see it by the end of the year, and less than $1,000. And I got to put you on the spot, HenricK. You were the one last season that said the Steam Deck, the Steam machine, would not be $1,000. Do you change your mind now? Do you feel like it's getting closer to that?
I do feel that.
Be honest with yourself.
Does not
Be honest
want
with yourself.
to price it that high. Like,
are
if
you sure?
They can,
you don't think that they're
I'm pretty sure they don't
together?
want to, because they're seeing the criticism online that people are saying, well, if it's X amount of money, $800 or above, it's dead on arrival because no one's going to buy. They see all that.
I would think so. I would still think
they
so,
see
too.
that people are worried about the pricing, and they delayed it. That's
because I think you last time
why.
said $700. $700. But then again,
and it does sound like
school...
a lot, but you got to also think about it from the perspective of what are you actually getting? You're getting not just a console. You're getting a
I feel
PC
like
that
if you're
can
a
be a hybrid
newbie,
console and PC.
I feel like if you're a newbie and you don't really do the whole Steam platform route and you don't really have a whole lot of games in your catalog, it's gonna be a tough sell. But if you're like a vet like yourself, HenricK, you're like,
Think about it
that
this way,
Steam
though,
machine sounds
Chris.
pretty cool.
Think about how many sales are on the Steam store all throughout the year, you know?
That's true.
Biggest ones being like the summer sale, the winter sale, for example. Okay. A lot of the games that you can pick up during those sales that are really good games are going to be like $10. Okay. Compare that to having to go get the game from some other storefront that probably doesn't have it on sale. You're going to be making your money back in a sense if you invest in something like the Steam Deck or the Steam machine, just based on how much money you're going to save on your library.
I
And
think
the
that's
great thing
all
about it, you're not tied to one little device either. If
true.
because for example, if the PS5 gets deprecated and all of a sudden they come out with a PS6, what's to stop Sony from saying, yeah, all those PS5 games, they wouldn't do this, I'm sure. But what is actually stopping them from saying all the games that are PS5 exclusives, yeah, you can't play them on your PS6. They're not compatible with each other. Well, guess what? With a PC, you can just play any game in your Steam library. Doesn't matter.
And I guess the nice leniency and the nice positivity, if you wanted to get the Steam machine, is it's like, at least with Steam and Valve, they give away a lot of free games. I don't know too many console makers that are just willing to throw it out there. It's always like, hey, wait, did you subscribe to us first?
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know if I'm a little bit lenient enough to want to hand you something for free. And then you get comments like this. I think the gaming community is currently experiencing a mood for the first time where people don't want a console generation change simply because a potential next-gen console won't offer anything other than improved graphics settings at their core. The games will remain the same. Do you truly believe that would be the case, HenricK, that like even if they did the PlayStation 6, for example, I mean, that's always been the most talked about thing, would there really not be a standout difference? Because I know the PS5 Pro didn't really quite sell it the way that I'm sure Sony wanted it for the gamers.
Yeah, I mean there is a substantial difference between the PS4 and the PS5. Just based on the storage they're using for the PS5 being much faster. So
Games got a
things
lot
like load
larger too.
times, yeah, and things like load times are gonna be better as a result of that faster storage. But graphically, it feels like a lot of people are at that point where they're thinking that around the PS4 eras where graphics kind of leveled out, and then anything above that is just diminishing returns or extra time needing to be made on top of the development time. And I'm pretty sure people would be okay if they say, yeah, maybe we won't come out with the PS6 just yet, because what is really going to be the biggest difference for what a lot of people look at is going to be the graphical quality.
I think it's the smart move. I think Sony should delay the PlayStation 6. I think it's a little too early to even have all that come around, because I think you're right. I think with the whole idea with like graphics in general, like I think it's kind of flatlined in a sense, and it's like, what more are you going to offer other than saying, hey, this is just a great processor and we can give you your 4K graphics on your nice shiny flat screen TV. But other than that, what more could you provide to the gamers other than slapping $300 more on top of the price tag of a PS5?
Now, the unfortunate thing is that you have the game engines like Unreal Engine 5 pushing for higher fidelity, and that higher fidelity comes with you needing to have better performing hardware. So they're probably not going to be able to implement all the newest features from Unreal Engine until they switch to newer hardware, maybe.
That's a
But
good point.
at the same time, a lost art is the art of optimization. And unfortunately, it feels like we don't get that as much in games anymore.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, HenricK. And this last comment that reads, I'm okay with this, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised or upset to see a release date for the 2030. This generation has been strange with the disruption from COVID alongside rising development costs / time for AAA games. There's a lot of established publishers that aren't willing to invest in risk, and this has resulted in games that are stale, too safe, or a release slash remake. And yeah, I think those are all excellent points. I've also, was seeing, that Sony's also telling people when we do get to the PlayStation 6, we are not going to follow Microsoft steps with how they treat Xbox and just completely ditch physical media, because they say, listen, we have to provide to over 170 countries. Unlike, Xbox and Microsoft, they might only have to worry about maybe less than 25 countries. And some of those countries don't have the luxury that we do here in the United States, where we have beautiful internet, beautiful Wi-Fi, be able to stream on the go. And so I think that's like really, really important to them. But then going back to all this, Henrik, are these shortages a warning sign or just a very expensive countdown clock daring players to smash the purchase button? Just kind of like when we talked last week with the whole HP subscription service. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah, there's always going to be people who are going to be willing to pay the high pricing of consoles, even if a lot of people, maybe even the majority of people, feel like it's priced too high. But once again, if the majority sentiment is that the console is priced too high, you're not going to be doing too well that generation from the perspective of the console manufacturer. And it is unfortunate that this is all basically happening because of AI data centers snatching up all this hardware and not leaving any for the consumers. And
But then it's like,
I don't think it's going to last for forever, because
it's
it's not sustainable for the economy.
Well, it's like you wonder when the AI bubble is going to pop. You start to wonder if like a lot of these tech companies are just collaborating together to manipulate us. You know what I mean? In a sense. And then it's just like someone's got to find the needle in the haystack so we can pop this damn thing. I mean, this has just become one massive, colossal mess. And if we don't figure it out by then, we're going to start seeing what's happening in the United Kingdom right now, which Sony has also introduced their own subscription model to rent out the PS5 for €8.99, which is crazy to think because we thought that was wild with HP last week, and then not realizing even a year ago they were renting out printers. Now I think they're starting to figure out us. And like I joked with one of my buddies last week, he's got a Windows 10. He still doesn't have a Windows 11. He's like, what do I do? Do I get a $1,500 laptop or a $3,000 gaming rig now? Yes, it's a real thing. Gamers are starting to stress because they're starting to figure out, wow, my very, like Twitch-based multiplayer titles, they seem to be able to hold up, HenricK, on my Windows 10. But if I want to start playing some of the newer, cooler stuff, wow, I'm lost out on the sauce. So that's a bummer. And so we'll keep things rolling because we got a lot more here to discuss on patch notes. But tell us, gamers, is this what the console makers want us to believe, so we impulse buy now as AI creates hysteria? Or is this the industry testing how fast gamers panic when the word shortage trends? Let us know what's good. But all right, HenricK the Wreck, what has the youth done now that's got the older gamers talking? Break it down.
Well, on X, or as some people still like to call it, Twitter, philosophical skirmishes broke out over game artists making some comments. And this in particular is for a game artist turned manga creator, Noriba, who wondered why titans like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest no longer command the gravitational pull they once had over Japan's youth. Because those are some really big titles that just were super popular, especially out in Japan. Maybe not as much out here, but over there, 100%. If you were a youth growing up, you know those titles. So, what followed was less a thread and more a cultural autopsy, with some arguing that decade-long development cycles turn anticipation into fossilization, while others
Yeah, right.
claim younger players prefer the velocity and visibility of live stream-friendly multiplayer spectacles.
Yeah.
Like your Arc Raiders,
That's fair enough.
Fortnite,
Yeah.
things like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Apex, Valorant.
Yeah, exactly. So, gamers, are these franchises just fading away, or have they simply become heirlooms of an era that prefers disposable thrills.
I know it's starting to feel like that a little bit in a sense, HenricK.
Yeah.
So, let's see what gamers have to say around the world, because the first one reads, kids today have infinite content to consume and access to thousands of games that they can play whenever they want. It's a much different time compared to 30 or 40 years ago, with the follow-up comment that reads, yeah, there's definitely a part of this that comes from the fact that if you spent $50+ on a game before, you had to finish it, and you might learn to love it. Now you just install and then uninstall it if it just doesn't get you instantly excited. I think that is
True.
very much a real
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I know when the cousins come through, the little cousins, not necessarily we want them picking up a pool cue and start shooting some billiards right away. I think it's a little safer for them to jump on the the controller and start jumping on the consoles. But yeah, I mean, I talk about this all the time on the show. I do the cloud subscriptions, right? I mean, PlayStation Plus has always been something nice and easy to jump right on into. It's got a massive catalog of games, right, HenricK? They can never stick to one. They can never stick to one. I mean, I feel like it's always like 15 minutes max, and then it's like their mind spirals down this web. I feel like we would all do the same thing too. I feel like if we had the luxury to do what the kids are doing today, don't you think that our attention span wouldn't be necessarily locked in on, let's say, just Zelda, just Super Smash Brothers, just Spyro the Dragon, or Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah, and think about it from this perspective also, Chris, where when you and I grew up playing video games, you'd be given maybe a video game or two on your birthday, and maybe if you did really well in school, you'd be given a gift of a video game, and maybe you'd get to choose what video game, but sometimes you wouldn't get to choose, and that would just mean that you have to make sure you enjoy that video game, because you're not going to maybe get another one for a while.
Yeah, tribalism really kicked in with our young
Yeah.
adolescents, right? It was like, oh, did I make the mistake and not get the Xbox? Oh my gosh, I got the PlayStation. And then your parents are like, you're going to have to roll with what you got. You're not getting anything new anytime soon. So I don't know what the hell y'all thinking.
Yeah, and then now you have so many games out there that are even just free to play. You can just download and try it out and see if you like it. Or, like you said, they could be on a subscription, and then you're only paying a smaller amount, and you get to try so many different games. So you can get away with not maybe.
But I always
liking
laugh
a
at
game
that
in the
feature
first
though,
couple
HenricK, when
hours.
even PlayStation offers you like, hey, game trials. You want to try out the game for 1 hour before you play the game? You can't even get a good sense of the game only playing it for 1 hour. That's like always been such
you
a
really
dumb
can't.
feature. Right? But then we get comments like this. Yeah, makes sense. Used to be when I finished a game, I could say its sequel might be out in a few years from now, like going from your first year of high school to your last. Now the gap between a game, its sequel, is like my entire goddamn life situation changing to the point where I'm not the same person anymore, with the follow-up comment that reads, since Fallout 4, I've finished college, gotten a career, gotten married, bought a house, have a kid. 11 years is an eternity. And 2013 was when GTA 5 dropped. So yeah, I was just about to go to college. Okay. So yeah, it is kind of wild to see that. It is very, very true. I mean, I know a lot of people were talking about, just like Skyrim, for example. Skyrim's good, bro. And that's why they always have to relay back to these remakes and remasters, and whether that's rising cost and development that's really hindered, like some of these games that are being referenced, these titans like Final Fantasy. Is that the reason? Or maybe is it there's too many damn characters and they keep jumping around and just keep using the same title? Maybe that's a problem. I don't know. Gamers, chime on in.
There's probably a lot of different things factoring into it, but I mean, when you look at the pricing of how much money is going into the marketing and the development of games, it probably has to do with that as well. You can't really deny that it's the rising cost of development.
Absolutely, HenricK. And then I'll probably be dead before 2 more Final Fantasies come out, with the follow-up comment that reads, this has been on my mind as well. How many more GTAs or Elder Scrolls will I see in my lifetime? 2? Yeah, and it's kind of like what we expressed. That is very much a real feeling today. And, last, I mean, it's definitely got some merit to it. 2+ decades ago, we grew up with entire trilogies in our childhoods rather than one entry in a long-running franchise. It's no wonder sometimes some franchises like Pokemon still stick to their relatively rapid cycles instead of chasing quality. It's kind of been
That's a
thing I've been
dig at Pokemon right there.
yeah, but
Chasing
I've been kind
quality
of
is
saying the same.
something
I've been
people
saying the
would say
same
they don't
thing.
do.
But it's true. But clearly something is working. But then I would also argue too, well, Final Fantasy doesn't have, and yeah, they want to try to get with like Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering and have their own cards. Well, Pokemon's been doing their own damn card, and they've been very lucky to have this high all over again when it comes to the whole trading card universe and being able to excite the youth all over again. Same way that we felt in the mid 90s, you know what I mean, HenricK? And so that definitely helps out. But when it does, addressing what the caption says on screen, are modern development cycles too long? Yes, they are way too freaking long. This is why a lot of people in the industry are losing their jobs. And also, too, there's a lot of studios that are just afraid to take risks. And then they spend way too much time, developing these games only to, like, cancel halfway out. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it is a lot of it probably due to the fact of the rising costs when you have some big studios spending like $200 million on game development or even more a lot of times, when you're looking at big titles like Black Ops 7, for example. Yeah, it is a shame though, because yeah, when you're waiting so long for a sequel to a game that you like in a series that you cherish, it's almost like you forget why you like that series by the
Yeah.
time that the new one comes out. And at the same time, too, it makes you wonder, like, are the people working on this even understanding the goals of the original? Because maybe some people haven't stayed at the company any longer who worked on the previous one, and that can make a difference also. And that's why maybe sometimes when a sequel comes out and there's about 10 years in between, there's this worry and of the anticipation of it coming out being like, is it going to even be good? Is it going to live up to the hype and expectations I have? And a lot of times it doesn't.
Yeah, and I would also say too, from like 2010 and up, that was like where a lot of the big gambles from a lot of these studios really wanted to embrace a lot more open world environments, semi-open worlds, and sticking less away from a very
And I'll
linear
say that
approach.
the move to open world actually hindered us in getting sequels to games, because
Yeah.
they feel now that they have to build out this huge world.
Exactly.
We're okay with a linear game. Come on, guys.
Well, that's exactly the point I was going to say, and I think that all stands merit, and that's where we want to throw it to you, the gamers. Are modern RPGs releasing too slowly to build lifelong fans, or are younger players just simply more drawn to games that never truly end? Let us know what's good. But let's keep this show rolling, because the studio behind Star Sand Island just did the most shocking thing in gaming history. They told their players to just take it easy. Stop being so damn nice, okay? We don't want to hear it. And so, yeah, I've never seen this before. I mean, you can go directly to their Steam page. Seed Sparkle Lab basically logged on, and they were like, yo, wait, listen, why y'all clapping like this so freaking hard? Is this like a prank? What the hell's going on? And so, imagine dropping a game, and your first announcement is like begging gamers to be like, stop, please, this whole praise bombing thing, like, chill. Relax, okay? Let us finish the game instead of playing detective in our own comment section, okay? And so, gamers, what timeline are we living in where developers are suspicious of compliments, okay? And what's actually going on before we all sprint into the comments like unpaid investigators? Okay, let's dive right on in. So the first one reads, spamming obviously fake positive reviews looks like a good way to get someone's reputation trashed. They need to buy the game though, so I don't know why someone would spend that much money to damage their reputation. What do you truly think is going on? Do you think this is something that's in-house? Or is this something where people are literally wanting to see the game die by ruining the comment section so like nobody can get a direct answer whether the game's good or bad or just neutral.
Well, compare this to one of the biggest situations similar to this of recent with High Guard, where a lot of people were not even finishing the tutorial and then leaving a Steam
Yeah.
review with, less than half an hour of game time actually in their comment little heading, and saying things, maybe really bad, saying they don't recommend the game. But then you see the comments every now and then that are, thumbs up positive, and it's like a joke comment. It's
Yeah,
like,
less than
okay,
an hour
well, that
play or
also is a
whatever, that
negative
too.
comment, but it's hidden in the sea of comments, and sticks out maybe a little bit because of the fact that it's a
But it's
thumbs
like,
up.
but what would be the answer to that? It's like you go to Rotten Tomato, right? You got to take every comment for a grain of salt. It's like, what's next? Do we need
Yeah.
every movie critic to show their progress bar and see how far they actually went? Oh yeah, he did actually get it to the end. Did you see the end scene? Did you see the end credit too? Because I also need him to note on that as well. I think that's what's crazy, and I know Valve has been trying to answer it behind the scenes by also saying, hey, listen, look, you the gamers, like, not everybody's going to have the same experience as you. So, like, if you, HenricK, are complaining about a performance issue, well, now in the future, we want you to showcase your spec. Showcase your spec in the comments. And that's one way to do it. But then it's like, would you want to see Valve, put like a limit down saying, like, you can't post a comment under these under any kind of video game unless you play X amount of hours? But then again, we just talked about a sperm game, that's 3-hour game, and so, like, how do you create that?
Maybe it has
a
to be in the
question.
perspective of how long the game is expected to be. If it's a 3-hour game, maybe you shouldn't be able to put a comment in until you're about maybe 30 minutes in, or maybe
But look
even
at some
45.
of these comments, though, HenricK. I mean, funny how in the span of 30 minutes, Star Sand Island got all these positive reviews from users who happen to all have the same account activity. And when you look at some of these games, they're all playing like the same ones. There's like a table. What does that say? I'm too blind. Tabletop Simulator, okay? That is hilarious. And so
I think I have
part
that
of
in
me
my
does
library.
feel like it's an inside job. Like, do you not feel like as if they hired like maybe a third-party firm to, like, raise up the expectations to get gamers excited? Because I know, even the studios kind of clapped back, HenricK, and said, like, wow, we kind of caught this early. A lot of people are only playing for like an hour, and then they leave a positive comment, and then they request a refund. Some people got refunds. Majority didn't get their money back. So it's like, why? Why would anybody do this? This is a costly gamble. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this an actual thing? Is this an actual PR practice that we're just now discovering that's a little bit more widespread, this practice of review bots? It's just wild.
I mean, it happens. It definitely does happen. And I'm sure you could see some patterns if you really
I'm
took a
seeing
look
one
at the
now.
comment
It's
sessions.
looking a little sus. And what makes it even more puzzling is that this approach is not cheap, since leaving a review requires purchasing the game. We later discovered that some of these accounts refunded the game after posting their reviews. Yes, like we were saying, I mean, it is wild. Like, how does that work? And I think Steam might have to address this. But we've also said it before, their employee staff is pretty freaking small, and they sometimes have a problem, like we've discussed even a couple seasons back, when, the women's rights group over there in Australia were trying to come after some of these really nasty, god-awful, pornographic kind of style games that were infiltrating Steam, and it just doesn't seem like they got enough eyeballs, not AI agents, eyeballs, to be able to review everything on their platform. And then, the last comment that reads, HenricK, how Chinese is the scenery is a question more game reviewers need to be asking, with the follow-up comment that reads like this: I normally criticize games by how American they are. I mean, this is kind of dumb. What a dumb comment. I mean, a lot of games are made worldwide all over the place today. But I get it. I mean, some people feel like, like Black Myth Wukong, remember when they got, like, some people felt like they got completely dissed at the Game Awards, and there was a huge marketing campaign even from China, and so people feel like this is just this way to boost their economy. Maybe, who knows? But I feel like we might be learning something that a lot of us. It's no different. Like, let's put it this way, HenricK. It's no different than what we're hearing with a lot of these Twitch and Kick streamers. You know, the Kick CEO came out and was trying to claim that some, members of the X-Phase clan were view botters. Well, maybe there are a lot of studios and developers that are a bunch of review botters. I suppose.
It's possible. I mean, when you have services like that exist out there, then it's feasible that people actually use those because they wouldn't exist if people did not use them.
But I guess it's, the thing that we have to, ask ourselves, gamers. I mean, like, at what point do we ask whether the issue is a lack of requirements to post a comment? And do you even want that on a store page? Or just the fact that the comment sections were never built to survive the internet in the first place? I think that's a reality. And so, yeah, I mean, should they have gameplay requirements in place? Will that actually stop these alleged artificial comments moving forward? Or do you have a suggestion that we're not thinking about? Let us know what's good. But let's keep things rolling, HenricK. I mean, what's got gamers taking this leap of faith on Reddit? Break it down.
Well, Reddit is back in its natural habitat, arguing like scholars with energy drinks. Yeah, it smells like Red Bull to me.
Yeah, for real, right? Mountain Dew.
And they're trying to crown the video game franchise that jumped off a creative cliff and somehow landed on its feet. And we're talking about studios that didn't just tweak a mechanic, they shook the whole IP up and just looked at it like a snow globe on the shelf right there as everything's just falling into place.
Yeah, just kind of settled to the bottom.
Exactly, yeah. So, gamers, when was the last time a game didn't play it safe and made you stop mid-session to think, wait, they really went for that, and it worked?
Yeah, let's dive right on in because I know the first one is making Kratos a dad and then switching to Norse mythology. Wait, I don't know if the original creator would like that.
He might not approve of this comment.
With the follow-up comment that reads, to be fair, he was always technically a dad.
That's true, yeah. Except it was a tragic end for his family.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
If you know, you know.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm a massive fan of the original OGs. I like them both. But if I'm picking from modern to the OG, I don't know if I agree with this comment. Just saying. I don't know if I agree with this comment. Well, let's
You
keep
like
it
the
rolling.
originals better?
Oh, hell yeah. It's so much better. I love them. So much better. Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2 were top-down 2D games. They had relatively simple mechanics and were made by small teams. It was relatively niche title. The move to a 3D heavily story-driven experience with the third seemed crazy. It worked out pretty well for them. I would say so. I mean, I remember...
And, I mean, now everyone's anticipating the sixth game.
Hey,
GTA
well,
6, so
Take-Two Interactive CEO is still saying it's on board. November 16th is still going to be it. Apparently, around June time is when they're going to start pushing the marketing. And he doubled down and said, listen, we would not spend money on marketing if the game is not ready to be delivered. So that's promising sign. I was anticipating another date change, but then again, we'll have to see whether he has to swallow his words or not. But yeah, I mean, look at this. Who the hell's going to be playing this crap? And it was always horrible on the Game Boy, too. I hated this thing. I hated it. But then we get Risk of Rain 1 being 2D, side-scroller, lo-fi graphics, and made by 2 college students, then announcing that Risk of Rain 2 would be fully polygonal and third person. It felt hugely ambitious, and they totally knocked it out of the park. I've gotten hundreds of hours of enjoyment out of Risk of Rain 2. I haven't played this, so I can't speak on it. Am I missing out, gamers?
Oh, you are.
But yeah,
missing
speak
out,
on this,
Chris.
HenricK.
Yes.
I mean, why did that stand out so massively for this franchise?
Well, they just made the game have that extra dimension to make it have even that extra bit of challenge to it. And it obviously vibed with people enough to have, I believe now it's 3 expansions they've output for this game. And I've got hundreds of hours. I know other people have hundreds of hours. There's tons of mods out there you can get. People still play this now, live stream it, all that sort of thing. And here's a little tidbit about the developers. The original developers, they sold it off to Gearbox, and they got hired by Valve, and they're now working on Deadlock.
Yeah, there we go. Did not know that.
So they
That's
got
very, very
successful too.
Helldivers completely changing the genre for the second installment. Yeah, you know what? Gosh, that basically would have stolen what I would have said if I wanted to try to keep
No,
it
yeah,
very modern.
that's a great example.
Great gamble for that studio to really embrace it, and now it's becoming its own movie. Jason Momoa will lead the charge, and are you excited for that? Does that sound cool to you, or are you just like, oh my god, are you like the new Vin Diesel? Are you like, because part of me first thought that.
As long as he
gosh.
isn't playing the same character he played in the Minecraft movie, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you start seeing Supergirl and he's playing as Loba, and then all of a sudden he's in Helldivers. It's like, man, you're not really changing, you're not really doing anything much. Shave the beard, do something. I don't know. And then you also get Demon Souls. Like them or hate them, Souls games took over the industry in one aspect or another. Yet Demon Souls, the original, only happened because the publisher thought it was a doomed game, told Miyazaki to do what he wanted, and gave him the lead. He basically took every risk he could. That game is unique even among the other Soul games, with tons of experimental stuff throughout. The game was expected to top out at like 250,000 sales. It sold just under a couple million by word of mouth alone, with almost zero marketing. Its remake outsold it. The spiritual successors are some of the most well-loved games of all time. It's still a pain in the ass game today. And I think, people love that thrill. People definitely love that thrill.
The Souls-like genre is booming even now because people love it so much.
And yes, Resident Evil twice with 4 and
the
7.
legend.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are very, very excited to get our hands all over Requiem, and I think some of us are kind of excited. I've always personally liked the third person, experience over the first person. I do like that they take gambles, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But like this just feels right at home for the Resident Evil series. But HenricK, which franchise just kind of like rolled the dice, and basically was like, listen, like this is something that I feel like, now, don't be afraid. This will lead us in the right direction in the future.
I'm going to say, as much as I may have some thoughts that, maybe let's not continue in this direction entirely, both the title Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom did a fantastic job to switch things up for the Legend of Zelda series in a positive way, because honestly, they could go back to the old formula and I would be okay with it to some extent, but it opened up the series to a lot of eyes, and now there's an expectation that their next game that they come out with is going to be even better. And I'm sure that it will be, because they always put the time and effort to make sure that it is.
Well, it's going to have to, because if that movie bombs, that game is going to be under so much scrutiny, even if it's a fantastic game. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to they're going to judge it like it's a quadruple A game. If the movie bombs, if they thought that was bad, they're really going to be coming after Nintendo after. This is like always a tough one, because I feel like everybody, like my initial reaction, just because, I just finished up Fallout Season 2. You start thinking about, Fallout 1, Fallout 2, and making that leap to,
from isometric to the 3D,
Exactly. That was like a real big thing. I remember when Fallout 3 came out, I was just so blown away. I love that whole like green teal approach, especially when you first, smelled the radiation, so to speak, from this crazy wasteland. I thought that was remarkable. But then, kind of throw a curveball a little bit now that I'm thinking about it. It's like, I loved when Mario Kart did the double dash. I thought that was like one of the coolest
that's a great game to always go back to.
Yeah, that I'm a little surprised that they don't embrace anymore. And maybe that would be something
that
it
probably was the whole thing of having to yell at your partner all the time. Hey,
exactly.
come on, man. They were right there.
Like, that was always something really, really cool. But then again, gamers, I mean, like, tell us, I mean, what is something that you would absolutely love that you feel like a studio should hit the self-destruct button on a beloved franchise and give it a whole new spin? Let us know what's good. But you know what? Gosh, I usually when I say the what's good, I don't say another comment. I'm going to do it anyways just because it hit me on the top of my head. Twisted Metal Battle Royale. Just saying, that would be so freaking badass. Come on now.
That would be pretty fun.
Right? But man, we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we just want to go ahead and throw up our QR codes one last time and go ahead and hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show.
Yes, and you should know what to do with this one. This is my QR code. Go ahead and scan that. Goes to my YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're there. Leave some comments for me. I'll be looking out for them.
Yeah, we can't thank you guys enough for always tuning in live, and enjoy the rest of the weekend and just have a splendid, splendid rest of the week. We'll talk soon.